It's really disorienting. You can barely see what's going on. It's like you're inside of a ping pong ball. Especially like back here, that's the bulk of the surface accumulation on this glacier right now. We're not capturing it with our stakes. So all the stuff that the guys from the 50s and 70s left behind got buried here and now is emerging from the ice. So what we're looking at here, stating things as a problem, involves some form of judgment that you're dissatisfied with reality as it is, so you call it a problem. When that happened for about 2 weeks, it was here, right? It was here, and it makes me think there's something about this place, not some mystical woo-woo thing, but just this place that, especially when it's all cloudy, I look, when the big ones happen, I look out tent, all I see is white. I think, my tent far enough away? I mean, it's very rare to stay here more than 2 days and not get stuck here for 3 or 4 or 5 until the next 2-day window to leave. It's just before dawn on day 5. I have apparently woken up in heaven. There used to be some big mountains out there. You can just kind of see their outline. There's the cache, all the pedestals, the sleds, and the airplane. Yeah. 747s, or I guess they don't have those much anymore, but 737s. They have a button you press when you want to land or take off and gets you all the way there. You just have to turn it off once you land. I don't have a button like that in my plane. So, yeah, even traveling around the glacier on days like today can be a chore, especially when there's snow, like this kind of fog over snow. It's really disorienting. You can barely see what's going on. It's like you're inside of a ping pong ball. A little bit of definition on the ground with the ice makes it a little bit easier. It's supposed to rain, but those forecasts really aren't made for 7,000 feet, so it might be raining below us right now. Still want to go down to the other thermocouple site today and just do a little maintenance on the site, reinforce it a little bit, do a few things here, but mostly it's going to be a camp day, I think. We'll see how it goes. I'm out on my morning walk, trying to get my muscles and joints and bones to remember how to work in unison. Clouds kind of come in and out. It's really pretty. These clouds, they play a role in surface energy balance, how much melt is occurring. They can enhance melt or inhibit it. I think most of the time they're inhibiting it. And even like, one of the things I'm really looking forward to doing in my model is, you see, this is south facing here. This is north facing. So you have ice on one side, not ice on the other. And if you look close, you can kind of see it kind of goes uphill towards the ice and the west facing slope. Normally we think about glaciers as being in simplistic models, I don't mean simplistic like stupid, just like in the broad brush strokes. We think of precipitation and sunshine, precipitation and air temperature. So if you add 10% more precipitation, snow, is that a stronger influence than decreasing air temperature by a degree, right? And you're thinking about past climates and future climates and things like that. But in that sort of broad brushstrokes, people don't consider sunshine, or cloudiness rather, sorry, it's a little early. The clouds equalize. They an overcast like this eliminates the direct sunshine, direct solar insolation, and it makes it all diffuse. So if it's all diffuse, you won't have this directionality. The ice you see here you would see there too. It's only because one's south facing and north facing. South and north facing only matter if sunshine matters from south to north. If you eliminate sunshine by making it, direct sunshine, if you eliminate direct sunshine by making it cloudy, then you might get ice growing on both sides. And now you can kind of see, do this backwards. Oops, nope, here. This here, my arm's working the right way. These are sort of lateral moraines that you can trace back to those slopes. So those slopes were ice covered at one point, right? And they produce ice that flowed down glacier into here. So this is where our camp is, kind of in the cloud right now. But I remember I was walking the other day, it was, super rocky. Well, those rocks are those lateral moraines brought from way up there. Without that ice, this glacier gets a lot smaller. So these are really tiny little glaciers in a sense, right? In these cirques. They're not really even cirques, they're just kind of these little nooks. But they play a major contribution. Even right now, like most of my mass balance stakes read 0, right? There's no, or negative, that we've lost melt. A couple up there measure some gain, but very, very little. We're talking maybe like that much, 10 centimeters at most. Look here, this snow patch, there's snow here. I don't have any stakes there, right? So, and it's kind of suicidal to put stakes there. It's an avalanche zone for snow and rock. It's heavily crevassed. You wouldn't put stakes there. But that, those, especially like back here, that's the bulk of the surface accumulation on this glacier right now. We're not capturing it with our stakes. Follow? That where we put our stakes are places we can access safely, easily, and we try and, have them representative of the broader area, but the only place representative of the broader area is a stake right there, right? Who wants to do that? But that's something we can capture in modeling. And that's why taking your stakes and just numerically extrapolating them, some Kriging method, it gives you a number that's useful, but it's not, we're missing a lot. And here we're missing the bulk of the surface accumulation. But with modeling the sunshine, in fact, the reason that snow's there is because of avalanching, and then it's north facing. So, it's protected by a steep valley wall that keeps the melt from happening. So that's something we can model. I forgot, the reason I stopped here anyway was talking about the disappearance of fern, another example. So I'm not too far away from camp, but I hadn't seen this one before. I think it must have melted out. So remember, this was all accumulation area not that long ago. So all the stuff that the guys from the 50s and 70s left behind got buried here and now is emerging from the ice. So what we're looking at here is a parachute load. There's the rope that's attached to it. My guess is, putting things together, this was one or more Blazo boxes that were popular back then, because I can see the top of the Blazo can. This is like a white gas sort of thing hooked together with metal strapping. And this is the wooden planks. Those Blazo boxes you find all throughout the Arctic. They're really handy boxes. You can find them. And I think a little bit up here are the parachutes, or a parachute that it came with. So, like I said, this stuff's going to continue to melt out. At this point, I don't know. I forget. I don't know why I forget it, because it's a really popular rule or law or whatever, but federal land stuff that's more than 50 years old, you're not supposed to mess with. And so at this point, all that stuff's more than 50 years old, even though it's trash. So I think right now I'm just going to leave it. Seek further guidance as to what to do before I get myself in trouble. Yeah, these are the parachutes right here. So they get exposed, and then, slush flows and melt and things, they get pushed around, separated. So here is more rope. This looks like some kind of harness. And they just push these back out of the back of there's a shackle there too. Oh, it's a nice shape. Look at that, it's almost like brand new. Yeah, see the pedestal it created there? Yeah, this This stuff hasn't been exposed on the surface very long. Otherwise, it would be actual parachute cords. We call that, you buy that string in Fred Meyer's, we call it parachute cord, but it never saw a parachute, but that's actually parachute cord from a parachute. And here's the actual parachute. It's in really good shape. I don't think I'd jump out of a plane with it. Oh, look. Yeah, look. You can even see the color. That's kind of cool, huh? You see that? Yeah. About to come back. Sorry. I can't switch. I guess you can't switch forward and backward video in the same video, so I have to keep turning the phone back and forth. It looks like all of it in this area. It was a different time back then, 50s especially. I knew a lot of those guys personally. Not the guys on this trip. One of them I did, but from that era, they were, I guess I'd say maybe 2 generations ahead of me scientifically. But when I was a young man, I'd go off on trips with those guys for whatever we were doing, and it's ingrained in them. It was just a different time in terms of like leave no trace. I mean, some of these guys would literally leave their trash around and call it trail markers, which it actually, I got a couple stories about that. I don't think they're worth sharing, but they actually have saved our butt a few times, leaving the trash behind. But like one of the things, like when I go hunt for old photos from around here, whether it's from 100 years ago or not that many, but some, or from the 50s, even the 70s, some scenic overlook, I've learned to know that I'm in the right spot, not just because I can see the photo is lined up in the right way, but because there'll be some tin cans left over from where that photographer ate his lunch and left those cans there as a marker. Inevitably, though, you'll find some, I think a lot of these guys, like I say, were climbers anyway. So they stopped and had lunch, took some photos, and then kept climbing. And they left their tin cans there. What can you do? Yeah. Lots of rockfall. It's very active. You can see the debris cone there. There's all ice under there too. It's snow and ice. Snow avalanches get covered by rock avalanches. As the glaciers, as the ice retreats off these slopes, the rock that's underneath is very brittle and probably been frost shattered, and there's nothing holding it back. The way the ice isn't on it anymore, and so a little bit of water trickling back there, a little bit more of frost jacking. It's a constant noise. Like there's just rock avalanche. Usually it's just like 1 or 2 rocks. You can see them tumbling down, but they make such a racket in this valley. It's ubiquitous. That noise is just all the time. That and the water rushing from all the streams. Yeah, maybe I'll set up a time lapse. So it's really calm right now compared to what it's been the past 4 or 5 days. And in this calmness, there's just really gentle breezes up glacier and down glacier. You get a little bit of the katabatic, the cold air sinking, trying to force things that way. Then you have coming up glacier, that's up glacier. You have the synoptic scale, and sometimes, not today, but you have the valley winds sucking, creating a low pressure in here. But this appropriate to call it fog. It feels like fog because we're standing in it, but it's really a cloud. It's not a local generated thing. It's just clouds coming in. But anyway, they'll sweep in and out. So you'll have like gorgeous mountain view, and then 5 minutes later, just the tendrils will come up, and then 5 minutes after that, see here, like all that I was just pointing at, that north facing, south facing slopes covered by cloud again. Got out of the tent this morning and I didn't put my crampons on. First step, foot kicked out from underneath me. So it's still super slippery. It's probably going to get more slippery yet. Coming back up to the plane now. The fear here, anxiety, I guess, is, this cloud is condensing on the cold metal. If the temperature drops, the condensation will turn into ice, which is problematic for generating lift, or generating lift and adding weight. Problematic for keeping your plane off the ground when you want it to. But yeah, just have to face that problem when it comes, if it comes. Problem's the wrong word, challenge. Problems have stating things as a problem involves some form of judgment. That you're dissatisfied with reality as it is, so you call it a problem. And I'm convinced, from my own experience anyway, that that kind of judgment is sort of the cause of all our misery. What we take as misery. Thinking of things as problems, like I said, it implies that you don't like reality as it is, and that's where things start. And that's what this place helps me remember, is that everything just is right now. Shouldn't be this way, shouldn't be that way, it just is what it is. And just rolling with it as it comes. Plan ahead for contingencies for sure, but what good does it do me to wish this condensation wasn't here, or to get stressed about it? There's nothing I can do to stop it, all right? And nothing I should do. Who knows the chain of events, what I see as a problem is going to lead to some, good thing later. Acceptance, that's what it's all about. We use the word love kind of loosely a lot. Everyone's got their own definition, but mostly, from my experience, I'm just speaking from my experience, most of us, including myself, don't really know what love is until you've really felt it till you've spent some time truly liberated from fear and anxiety, like it doesn't exist at all. And that's not an intellectual thing. That just, some switch goes off in your head and all those fears and anxieties are just gone. And then you see the world clearly for the first time, and you realize how much of your vision, how much of your, speaking from my own experience, how much my thought process was just dominated by useless chatter, and how much of my decision making was based on such bullshit things, and how much of my love was filtered by this fear and anxiety. And without it, love takes on a whole new meaning. It's really beyond words. It just starts coming out in ways that you never expected before, spontaneously. There's nothing you have to do. People you meet that would ordinarily get on your nerves, or always have to have the last word or the last laugh or whatever, you just accept it. You just let them. There's not again, it's not intellectual. It's just like, this is what they need to feel good. Let them feel good. Somebody you might be competing against sort of nominally. They might be, maybe chasing the same money you are for a project, and they win. Great. You're just happy for them with no filter. Just great. It's like when you're playing a board game with your family, and your son wins, or whatever. You're happy for them, and it's like that. It's this judgment, this filters that cloud our experience and our experience of reality, and prevent us from accepting reality as it is. And without that, we can't love fully. And again, I shouldn't say we. I should just speak from my own experience that love took on a whole new meaning for me when I experienced it without these filters, without this fear and anxiety. And I feel it now. I have those filters now. I don't know. I've tried to reproduce it unsuccessfully, but I don't know how it comes about, that the state of mind where all that just disappears, like all of it just disappears. How did I get there? How did I not get there? I still struggle with that. But when that happened for about 2 weeks, it was here. Right? It was here. And it makes me think there's something about this place, you know, not some mystical woo-woo thing, but just this place that, you know, stimulates that in some way. The lack of chatter from the rest of the world, you know, telling me what to be afraid of, and, you know, who to vote for, and who to, you know, if I don't own this macho pickup truck, then I'm not a man, or, you know, whatever the marketing is. Something about the absence of that helps. I don't know what it is, and that's, I guess that's another reason that, you know, this place is special to me, and why I want to keep it special, so that others can feel that same thing. That there's something about the lack of, you know, other humans and the signs of other humans, even you know, the stuff from the 70s, whatever. It's not like, it's more curiosity than some marketing thing, right? It's a totally different scene. But yeah, it's that, you know, whether that wilderness, you experience it firsthand, like I'm standing in it, or vicariously through photos, or, you know, maybe if somebody ever watches these videos, or you just know about this place from a map, you know, that alone can help trigger that, and that state of mind where love is all there is. Love is the only thing that's real, and you just recognize that viscerally, that, you know, nothing real can be threatened, right? And when you take that to heart, and for me, I should just say for me, I recognize that it's the truth. Nothing real can be threatened. Only love is real. Love is the only thing that can't feel threats. That's love is what exists. Pure acceptance of reality, pure love shines forth from within me, and I know from reading others have felt this too, shines forth in the complete absence of fear and anxiety. That liberation from that is possible, and it's like being in heaven. It's like, you know, metaphorically, like in these clouds. I mean, you just, once I felt that, I just can never go back to my old way of thinking. Even though I still feel those fears and anxieties now, they're tempered in a way which they weren't before, because I know that they're bullshit. I know that they're not real. I can use that metric of, you know, if something's making me feel threatened, then it's not real. It's literally a delusion. And I mean that really literally. It's just some noise in my head that's just tickling my fear center. And that's all it is. It's not love. Only love is real. And it's a place like this that helps me remember that, reinforces it for me. And I hope others, you know, I want to do whatever I can to have others have that experience too, whether it's this place or other wildernesses, or, you know, just the idea of wilderness. It's something that's super important, super personal to me, and I hope that whatever I do has some influence on that. Being around. It's nice to lay flat. It's nice to have headroom again. It's nice to have a little bit more dryness. It's pretty wet in here though. But anyway, maybe time for breakfast and then an after breakfast nap. Been a pretty rainy day. In the clouds the whole day. Mostly sat in the tent. Did a little reading, a little knitting, a little napping, a little eating. But sort of towards the end of the day now, I just came out and checked the anchors in the plane. It's a lot easier now with the, I keep a screw as a backup, but with those deep anchors, they don't need to reset. Plane's still slipping and sliding just a little bit off its pedestal, but I don't think the melt was as bad today because it It wasn't very sunny. Let's put it that way. Lots of rockfall today. Oh yeah. I should have taken more pictures. There were a couple monsters. This slope here, you can see lots of new stuff right here. Big boulders too. This was all ice covered when I first got here. So recently deglaciated material that's, now that's all unloaded. I guess the little bit of water helps help mobilize it, but yeah, especially when it's all cloudy. I look, when the big ones happen, I look out the tent, all I see is white. I think, my tent far enough away? But yeah, it's far enough away. But yeah, this is the view. This is actually part of the better view of today. I don't have enough power to get the Starlink going. I didn't think that through fully, but at least I know it works. So in future years, I'll be able to make more use of it for science. I want to be able to get some of this data telemetry like we used to. In any case, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I don't think it's supposed to get good again for a few more days. So hope I brought enough yarn. I know I didn't bring enough books. In the future, that's another thing. I'd bring more yarn. Yarn is light and useful. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. End of day 5. Science has been done for a couple days now. Now it's just a waiting game, waiting for the weather to allow me to take off and get out of here. I just talked with Turner. He says it's not looking likely for a couple days yet. The rain stopped now, but he says he's going to start again. And then tomorrow afternoon or evening, the temperature's supposed to drop. So any more precipitation will likely fall as snow. And it's supposed to stay down in the 20s or so for a couple days. But at some point, at least I won't be in a cloud anymore. So there's some possibility of taking off. We'll just have to see how it goes. Hopefully I brought enough wool. I'll continue to work on my new neck gaiter. Yeah, the books, I don't know. I don't think I brought enough books. But it's still cool. I wouldn't change it. What's happening now is nothing that's unexpected. It's very rare to stay here more than 2 days and not get stuck here for 3 or 4 or 5 until the next 2-day window to leave. So yeah, got plenty of food. Battery power is a little bit lacking. I got to get on the recharging. But yeah, the glacier has moods. It's not a postcard. Weather changes, everything changes. It's all part of it, and you take it all without labeling it good or bad. With capital letters anyway. Some weather conditions are more favorable for some activities than others, but yeah, as long as you keep your expectations at bay for what reality should be, it all works out in the end and in the moment. Now, I think this moment, it's about 8:30. Maybe a little more knitting and then sleep. I'll see what tomorrow brings.